Calm down, Red Wings fans. This is not the Bertuzzi you're thinking about. As for the Montreal faithful, I know you're probably asking, Lego, why are you making a video about this? Like, it's a guy who might be coming over to the team on a PTO tryout for camp. Why are you making a video about this, bruh? Well, it's because it's my show and I think this is kind of interesting, and because the fact that this player is indeed the player he is, it makes for some pretty interesting conversation as to the family ties and other, players that could be notable NHL stars or have been NHL stars. So, today we're talking about a name who has been rumored to heading over to Montreal as an invitee to rookie camp. Now, the reason I say rumored is because, well, the source is a Twitter account called habsworld.net, and I haven't actually seen any confirmation on this kind of thing anywhere else. I've tried to look for the updates or whatever, seeing if this is legit, but the thing is, with PTOs, with contracts, with tryouts heading over to NHL camps, these kinds of things aren't ever usually released until the actual camp rosters are put out onto the internet. And because camp hasn't actually started yet, this stuff hasn't actually been published, and therefore we don't have a direct confirmation from the source. So we're just running with this idea as if it is a rumor, even though I don't really see why anybody would have a reason to lie about this. So here is the tweet right here. The Montreal Canadiens have invited forward Tag Bertuzzi to their rookie camp. The 20-year-old spent the last season in Slovakia on loan from Hamilton in the OHL. And yes, he is Todd Bertuzzi's son. Now, Tag Bertuzzi is a player that a lot of people would be kind of intrigued by, mostly because he is indeed here from Vancouver, where I am, obviously the son of Todd Bertuzzi, a Vancouver Canucks I was going to say legend. I don't know if I want to say legend. Cult star, maybe, is a better term to describe him. Tag Bertuzzi is the son of a guy who was able to get upwards of 90-plus points and 40-plus goals with the Vancouver Canucks, playing for the West Coast Express, and just being an overall beast. He almost had 100 points in 2002-2003. Todd Bertuzzi had himself a very strange fallout with the Vancouver Canucks in the form of the Steve Moore incident with the Colorado Avalanche, and if you don't know what that is, then please just go ahead and read the Wikipedia article about it. It was a really, really bad time for the league. Just super unfortunate what happened to Steve Moore, and Todd Bertuzzi ended up sitting out the rest of the season because of what happened. Either way, though, he spent another year in Vancouver after the lockout and then went over to Detroit, where he was a pretty good depth forward, an older guy, a veteran presence or whatever, and that's kind of where he ended off his career. Well, technically, he ended off in the Binghamton Senators AHL system, but that's neither here nor there. His son, Tag Bertuzzi, though, is actually an overager. February 18th, 2001 is the birth date, 6'1", 198, so right away you can see he's not as big as father Todd, but still, 6'1", 198, not really small. Tag Bertuzzi, because he's born in 2001, means that he was eligible for the 2019 NHL Entry Draft, that in which he was not selected. Part of the reason is because his OHL career has been really plagued with injuries, and it got to a point where a lot of people were really questioning his overall projectability into the NHL and as to whether or not he would even be drafted. He was indeed a top OHL draft pick taken second overall in the OHL priority selection in 2017. However, in 2017-2018, he played his first season with the Guelph Storm at 11 points, 41 games played. Wasn't game-shattering by any means, but he was still kind of a guy that was there. For the Black Canadian team at the U17s, he had 4 points in 5 games played and 24 penalty minutes, which was pretty noteworthy, actually. He averaged just under 5 penalty minutes a game, which, I mean, look, he's a Bertuzzi, so I guess it kind of makes sense. And a direct son of Todd Bertuzzi as well, not a nephew like Tyler Bertuzzi is, for example, who plays on the Detroit Red Wings. Ah, see there, Detroit fans. I know you wanted me to connect this to Tyler Bertuzzi some way or another. Either way, though, Tag Bertuzzi had himself his second season in the OHL, his draft year, in 2018-19. He had 9 points in 29 games played with the Guelph Storm. Really not great. He was traded over to Hamilton in a really big kind of moment in the OHL. It was a big deal when we saw Tag Bertuzzi actually get traded, and the trade rumors in the OHL in this time frame were actually pretty rampant. Either way, though, he was sent over to Hamilton. He played one game, and that was the end of his draft season. He was really slowed down by injuries, so yeah, 30 games played, 9 points as a center in your draft-eligible year into the NHL. He didn't get drafted, understandably so. However, in 2019-20, his first full season with Hamilton, he was just under a point per game, minus 29, 23 points as well. This Bulldogs team was honestly pretty meh. I mean, Arthur Kaliev was there, Jan Yannick was there, he was helping them out too, so it was really good to see what those guys were able to do, as Arthur Kaliev had 98 points in 57 games, Jan Yannick 56 points in 27 games, two very legit NHL caliber prospects right there. But Tag Bertuzzi was right behind them in points, and now you take a look at what he did in 2020-2021, and it was like, okay, the OHL's not going on, so where exactly is Bertuzzi going to play? Well, the Hamilton Bulldogs actually sent Bertuzzi on loan to the Slovak League, or at least the second division Slovak League, where he suited up for Hockey Club Levis, had 22 games played and 23 points. He also had 43 penalty minutes too, so there you go, there's that Bertuzzi connection coming back to play here. Now, you look at the numbers and you say, wow, he was over a point per game in pretty much the AHL of Slovakia. And, even though on paper it is good, you'd rather see a player be over a point per game than not. You do have to take a look at the comparables here because the Slovakian second-tier league has so many other guys who were teenagers who have put up similar, if not better, numbers. So much to the point that Tag Bertuzzi right here, if you take a look at the all-time U20 league numbers for the Slovakian second division, Tag Bertuzzi ranked as the 44th best player in terms of points per game, behind a whole bunch of guys who didn't really do anything at the NHL level. Now, granted, some of them went on to become pretty good, like Ladislav Nagy, Michael Handzus, yada yada yada. There are some pretty notable names, but for the most part, a good chunk of all the guys who had been producing similar, if not better numbers than Bertuzzi, especially at younger ages too in this league, went on to not really becoming anything, which is why it appears that Bertuzzi was invited to rookie camp instead of just signed onto a contract, because what you do when you get rookies over onto your camp is you say, all right, we think you're notable enough to have you as a presence to play with our prospects and compete with our guys when we play with tournaments with other prospects from other teams and all that. Normally that would be the case, but of course, the world's a different place today than we had it before. We're not really having all too many prospect tournaments going on between NHL teams anymore. But that's the kind of thing that these tryouts or these invitees would be a part of had the NHL just been functioning as normal. But for Tag Bertuzzi, if he's able to go over to Montreal camp, show himself off in a way that's a lot better than we expected him to be in this time a few years ago, then hey, the sky is indeed the limit. But if he doesn't end up working out, and I don't know, they send him back to the free agent pool and he ends up signing an AHL tryout deal with some other team, and the story will continue from there. Either way, though, his father is Todd Bertuzzi, his cousin is Tyler Bertuzzi, he does have NHL playing capabilities in his bloodline, so if there's going to be an entire reason that Tag Bertuzzi doesn't make the league, it's going to be because of other aspects. In fact, here's a scouting report all the way back from 2020 talking about Tag Bertuzzi. This is the last word on sports write-up right here. This is a re-entry player into the draft, Tag Bertuzzi, the cousin of Red Wing forward Tyler and the son of Todd. Tag is looking to make a name for himself. Last season in 2018-19, he was ranked 210th by future considerations, and in 2020, he is indeed unranked. Injuries have plagued Bertuzzi ever since he was selected second overall in the priority selection. There's also a clear lack of engagement on his part on the ice. More often than not, he avoids getting involved in board battles, he sticks to the perimeter, and turns away scoring opportunities. It's a shame, but he still has that upside if a team can unlock the mental aspect of his game. Ahead of the 2018-19 draft year season, he was listed as a top 10 OHL prospect by Elite Prospects. There was excitement heading into the season, as his power forward hard-nosed style was highly anticipated. He also has a lethal shot and strong vision to pair with it. Unfortunately, injuries change how we attack the game, and he seemingly does not want to get involved physically. Maybe he can turn it around with the Bulldogs next season, but the time is ticking for Bertuzzi. If an NHL team takes a chance on him late, they must hope he can unlock what was once a bright future. So, a year removed from that time, a year spent in Slovakia, now he's apparently heading to Montreal. We'll see what the future holds in store for Tag Bertuzzi. Talk to me in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99. And bye.